I always thought my dad was just quirky. He carried around his camcorder like it was an extension of his arm. Birthdays, school plays, even mundane breakfasts. He'd film everything. Memories matter, he'd say with a chuckle, zooming in on my syrup-covered face while I chewed pancakes. I didn't think much of it. Lots of dads are into documenting family moments, right? But it wasn't just the camcorder. There were always little red lights blinking in weird places, behind a book on the shelf, in the corner of the living room, even once inside a fake smoke detector in the bathroom. When I asked him about it, he'd wave it off. Oh, that's just an old motion sensor. Ignore it. So I did, for years. Growing up, I never had real privacy. My friends thought I was overreacting when I said my house felt like a movie set. Here's a paranoid Ruby laughed once, but she stopped laughing the day she found the small camera lodged into the hallway ceiling. Dude, she whispered, your dad is nuts. That day stuck with me, but I buried it. My dad was harmless, or so I told myself. He was always editing footage in the basement, though none of us ever saw the final product. He said he was archiving family history for future generations. It sounded noble, but looking back, the basement was always off limits. If I even tried to open the door without knocking, he'd snap. Do not touch my workspace, Emily. It's delicate. Sometimes I caught my mom staring at the corners of the room, frowning. But she never said anything. We all just normalized it. The cameras, the microphones, the obsession. I was 16 when everything started to unravel. One rainy afternoon, I went looking for packing tape in the garage. My science project had collapsed, and I was frantically trying to fix it before school the next day. Instead, I found a wall. Not just any wall, a wall of screens. Dozens of monitors, each displaying a different angle of our house. The kitchen, the bedrooms, the bathroom, my bedroom. My stomach twisted. My knees went cold. I watched myself in real time, sitting cross-legged on my bed, biting my nails, scrolling through my phone. Then I saw my mom in the kitchen, crying silently into the sink. And next to that, the label. Mom, crying, March 12. Me, fails math test. Dinner, big fight. It wasn't just surveillance. It was categorized, labeled, archived. And in the top right corner of each screen, a number. Live VIUBERs 142. Live VIUBERs 98. Live VIUBERs 177. I felt the world collapse around me. This wasn't just footage. This was being streamed in real time. My breath caught, I stumbled back, knocking over a bucket of tools. Something clicked behind me, a soft mechanical hum. The monitors went dark. Then I heard his voice, calm, measured behind me. You weren't supposed to see this yet, my dad said. And he smiled. I didn't scream. I wanted to. But something inside me locked up. His calm voice cut through the suffocating silence. You weren't supposed to see this yet, Emily. But I guess the timing works out. I turned to face him, my father, holding a mug like this was just any regular evening. His face was neutral, not angry, not embarrassed, just patient, like a teacher waiting for a student to catch up. What is this? I managed to whisper, my voice shaking. He looked past me toward the monitors. This is the project of a lifetime. I took a step back. You filmed us for years. Without permission. You streamed it. He nodded slowly, sipping his tea. I did. And before you freak out, you should know. The viewers love you. My stomach turned. Are you hearing yourself? You violated our privacy, my privacy. He tilted his head. Sweetheart, we live in a world where people post everything online voluntarily. I just created it better. I stared at him like he'd grown another head. This wasn't just a misunderstanding. This was deliberate. He stepped closer, lowering his voice to a soothing tone, like I was a scared animal. You always said you wanted to be seen, that people didn't understand you. Well, now thousands do. They'd watched you grow, cry, triumph. They root for you. I backed away until I hit the wall. Who are you? Emily, he said, almost hurt. I'm still your father. I've been building something real, something important. He gestured toward the screens. Families out there, they're broken, chaotic. But you, your mom, your brother, you become role models. You're helping people. I felt bile rise in my throat. So we're actors? In your twisted show? He smiled. You're not acting. That's what makes it authentic. That's what makes it beautiful. The room spun. My childhood flashed before me. Birthday parties, sleepovers, my first breakup. All of it shared. I remember crying in my room after I failed my math final. That clip was labeled. I choked back tears. Does Mom know? He paused. The answer was in his silence. Oh my God, I breathed. She doesn't. He glanced down. She had suspicions, but she chose not to know. That's different. Is it? I asked bitterly. He sat down casually in his chair, swiveling to face the monitors. I plan to tell you on your 18th birthday, a special reveal. There's even a whole tribute episode ready. You're insane, I said quietly. But he didn't flinch. Instead, he clicked a few keys on the keyboard and brought up a chat window. Comments were pouring in. She finally found out? This is wild. Dad REVL. OMG, I'm shaking. I love Emily. She's the realest. We've watched her grow up. I feel like I know her. My legs gave out. I sank to the floor. This wasn't just surveillance. This was entertainment. And I was the star. I didn't sleep that night. After I somehow stumbled out of the basement, heart pounding, body numb, I locked myself in my room and stared at the ceiling until dawn. Every blinking LED light suddenly felt suspicious. Every shadow looked like a hidden lens. I wrapped my laptop and phone in a towel and stuffed them in my drawer like that would somehow stop the whole world from watching me. When morning finally came, I went downstairs and saw my mom making coffee like nothing had changed. She looked tired. Her hair was pulled into a loose bun, and she wore one of Dad's oversized sweatshirts. I stared at her, wondering if she was just really good at pretending or really deep in denial. "Morning, sweetie," she said softly. "You want eggs?" "No," I replied flatly, eyes on her. "Can I ask you something?" She paused, then nodded, mud halfway to her lips. I leaned against the counter. "Did you know Dad was filming us? Like, all the time. Not just birthdays. All the time." Her hand froze midair. Then she slowly placed the mug on the counter. She didn't look at me. She didn't even blink. "How long have you known?" I pressed. Still silence. "Mom." She finally exhaled. "I didn't know at first," she said. "He told me it was just for his memoirs. For us. For the family." That was a lie. I figured that out eventually. "And you didn't say anything?" Her eyes welled up with something. Guilt, maybe? Fear? "I was scared, Emily. Your father, he can be obsessive. Controlling. But he always made it sound harmless. And when I confronted him..." "You confronted him?" I cut in. "Once. Maybe twice," she admitted. "He got angry. Not violent. Just cold. Like I'd ruined something sacred. He told me I didn't understand his vision. I felt a fresh wave of betrayal. You let this happen. You let him turn our lives into a show." She rubbed her temple. "I didn't know he was streaming it. I swear." "So what did you think all the wires and monitors were for? You thought he was editing home videos for fun." She looked ashamed. "I stopped asking questions a long time ago. It was easier." "Easier for who?" I snapped. She flinched. "You don't know what it's like living with someone who believes they're always right. He convinced me this was for you, that one day you'd be grateful, that the world would see how special you are." I laughed bitterly. "That's not love. That's exploitation." My mom didn't answer. Her silence was louder than anything. I left the kitchen and walked outside. I needed air. Space. Something real. But even the trees felt like props. Every car that passed, was it someone who recognized me? Had they seen me cry, seen me dance alone in my room, heard me talk to myself when I was at my lowest? The worst part wasn't the invasion. The worst part was knowing millions of people might think they know me better than I know myself. That afternoon, I skipped school. Not that I could focus anyway. How was I supposed to sit through chemistry when my life was apparently public entertainment? I locked myself in my room and started searching. My dad never told me the name of his project, but I remembered a line he let slip. "They love you. They watch you grow." That phrase echoed as I typed it into search engines, forums, even Reddit. Nothing. I tried everything. Family live stream, daughter, secret reality show, real people, girl being watched online without knowing. Most of it was creepypasta or urban legends. Until I found it. A private forum. Invitation only, but catch screenshots had leaked on some gossip blogs 6 months ago. It had been titled simply, "The Nest." I froze. My name was in the comments. Emily, the older daughter. Quiet, emotional, thoughtful. There were fan threads. Analysis. Best Emily moments. Theories about my relationship with my ex-boyfriend. People had made GIFs of me crying, laughing, even brushing my teeth. One post stood out. "She reminds me of myself when I was younger. I'd followed her since she was 10. She doesn't know it, but she helped me through some of my darkest moments." I wanted to throw up. It felt connected to me. It thought this was intimate. But they didn't see the harm. The violation. I wasn't a person. I was content. Another thread read. "I think the mom knows. You can tell by how she looks at the cameras. But the daughter? she's still raw. That's why it's so good. So good. My pain, my confusion, my private heartbreak. Good television. I clicked on a user profile, someone who posted obsessively in the Emily threads. Dozens of comments, weirdly insightful ones. Some about my schedule, my habits, how I tilt my head when I'm anxious. And then I saw the username. It wasn't random. It was a combination of letters and numbers, but they matched something. An old email address I recognized, one I hadn't seen since middle school. It belonged to my best friend. Or someone I thought was my best friend. Ruby. I clicked. My hands shook. It was her. A selfie in one of the posts confirmed it. Same room, same jacket she used to wear. Ruby, the one who joked about the cameras, who laughed at my paranoid theories. She knew. She'd been watching. For years. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, letting the betrayal sink in. This wasn't just my father's obsession anymore. This was the whole ecosystem, a fandom, a community built around my unknowing life. And the people I loved most, the ones who should have protected me, were either complicit or consuming me. I stared at my reflection in the dark laptop screen. Who was I, really? Who was I when I wasn't being watched? The next morning, I woke up with a plan. Not revenge. Not yet. That would come later. Right now, I needed clarity. Control. Some piece of myself that wasn't already owned by strangers online. I skipped school again. No one texted. No one called. Probably because half my friends were watching my life unfold in real time anyway. I opened my laptop and re-entered that cursed forum. The nest. The more I read, the more I felt like I was swimming in a pool filled with oil. Slippery. Toxic. Familiar names from my life kept appearing in the comments, my teachers, my neighbors, even an old babysitter. They were fans. I stumbled onto one post titled, "When Emily finally finds out, what do you think she'll do?" It had over 200 replies. Everyone had theories. She'll forgive her dad. She's too soft. She'll break down, total meltdown. I give it a week before she leaves home. Plot twist. She joins the show willingly and becomes co-director. That would be badass. No way. Emily's gonna go full nuclear. Mark my words. I leaned back in my chair, stunned. They had all predicted me like I was some scripted character in a show. And for years, I had unknowingly followed their expectations. I had broken down after my breakup. I had cried in my room after failing school. I had tried to be the peacekeeper when my parents fought. Was it coincidence? Or had I absorbed their gaze so deeply that I shaped myself around it? That thought alone made me feel sick. But then, an idea struck me. If they were watching me, always watching, then maybe I could use that. I couldn't delete the past. I couldn't unstream my childhood. But I could change the story they thought they knew. That evening, I walked downstairs, casually like nothing had happened. My dad was sitting at the dining table, sipping wine, editing clips like always. He looked up, surprised. "You okay?" I smiled sweetly. "Yeah, actually, I wanted to talk." He raised an eyebrow. "Really?" I nodded and sat across from him. "I've been thinking about what you said, about helping people, about how this is bigger than us." His eyes lit up. "I knew you'd understand." "I don't want to be part of it," I said. "But on my terms, no more hidden footage. No more Emily doesn't know. If I'm going to be watched, I'll control the camera." He leaned forward, intrigued. "Go on." "I want to make a statement. I want the next stream to be my message. No scripts, no edits. Just me speaking to them. The viewers." He beamed. "That's brilliant. You're stepping into your role." I smiled again, but inside, my stomach churned. I went back upstairs and wrote out exactly what I wanted to say. Practiced it. Rehearsed every breath. Then, the next night, prime time, apparently, I went live. The screen flickered on. I sat in my room facing the camera, my expression calm. "Hi, if you're watching this, you already know my name. You've probably seen more of me than most of my own friends. Maybe you think you know who I am, but you don't. You've watched me cry, laugh, sleep, eat, fail, all without my permission. You turned my life into episodes, my trauma into content. You saw my first kiss. You saw me break down over my brother's overdose. You saw my mother stare into corners, pretending not to see the red lights. And you applauded it, analyzed it, shared it. You think because I never looked into the camera, it wasn't real. Well, I see you now. And from this moment on, I'm not yours anymore. I won't beg for privacy. I won't play nice. This ends here. Not because I'm broken, but because I'm done being watched." Then I stood up, picked up the camera, looked straight into it, and I smashed it on the floor. The stream cut to black. The silence after the stream ended was deafening. There were no claps, no applause, no validation. Just stillness. I sat on my bed in the darkness, staring at the shattered remains of the camera on my floor. The red light that had once blinked nonstop now blinked no more. It was over. Or so I thought. Within hours, my phone, which I had kept off, was vibrating nonstop, missed calls, unknown numbers. Even my school emailed me asking if everything was all right. Apparently, the video had gone viral. Someone had screen recorded it and reposted it on other platforms. TikTok, Reddit, YouTube. Real girl exposes her dad's CCR reality show. The Nest. Live-streamed life ruined her, but she fought back. Is Emily the new face of digital resistance? I didn't want to be a face of anything. All I wanted was to disappear. By noon the next day, reporters were at our house. I watched from my bedroom window as they hounded my dad on the lawn. Microphones in his face, cameras pointed at him for once. He kept calm, of course. I always had her best interests at heart, he said. She's an artist in her own way. I merely gave her a platform. A platform. That word made me want to scream. My mom didn't leave her room. My brother texted me for the first time in months. Holy sh**, that was brave. Dad's a freak. We hadn't spoken since he dropped out and moved across the country. Maybe now I understood why he left so quietly. Then came the fallout online. Half of the viewers applauded me. They called me a hero, a survivor, an icon for Gen Z. The other half, they were furious. We loved you. You betrayed us. I watched her for years. She owes us more than that. Ungrateful. She wouldn't be anything without the Nest. They thought they owned me, that I'd have ruined their show. But I couldn't care anymore. Let them scream into the void. For the first time in my life, the only voice that mattered was my own. I confronted my dad a few days later. He sat at the kitchen table like always, reading through legal papers with tired eyes. Lawsuits were piling up. Privacy violations, unauthorized recordings, licensing fraud. I sat down across from him silent for a while. Then I asked, why me? He looked up slowly. You were compelling, he said. Real. You didn't try to be perfect. That's what drew people in. You didn't love me, I whispered. You studied me. He didn't answer. And in that silence, I got all the confirmation I needed. I stood up and walked out. I left home a week later. Moved in with a friend of a friend 3 states away. I changed my number. Deleted every social media account. I even dyed my hair. And for the first time, I wasn't being followed, not by cameras, not by an audience, not even by the voice in my head wondering if someone was watching. It was quiet. Terrifyingly quiet. But it was mine. I thought I had escaped. For a while, it felt like I had. The new town didn't ask questions. The landlord didn't know my name beyond what was on the lease. The barista at the corner coffee shop smiled at me without recognition. The silence was eerie, but also comforting. I could breathe again. And for a while, I did. I got a job at a bookstore. Nothing fancy, just something quiet. The kind of job where I could vanish between the shelves, recommend novels to strangers, and pretend none of it had ever happened. I told people my name was M. Simple, small, harmless. But the internet doesn't forget. One evening, I was shelving a stack of returns when a girl, maybe 15, walked up behind me. Sorry, she said shyly, but are you Emily? From the Nest? My whole body tensed. I turned slowly, forcing a polite smile. No, sorry. You got the wrong person. Her face fell with disappointment, but she nodded, muttered sorry, and walked away. But I knew. I knew by the way she stared at me from the corner of the store for the next 10 minutes. She knew. And now, so would others. By the end of the week, someone posted a blurry photo of me on a fan forum. She's in CTD, working in a bookstore. I just saw her. It spread like wildfire. Again. I quit that night. Went home, packed my things, deleted every account again, burned my journals, smashed my backup phone. I felt like I was unraveling, like a ghost with no place to haunt. I thought the world would move on. They didn't. They kept digging, finding old classmates, teachers, my brother, even Ruby, who had gone full influencer with a podcast called My Best Friend the Star. Her voice, once so familiar, now made my skin crawl. She changed after finding out. Ruby said on episode 6, but the cameras didn't lie. That was the real Emily, and deep down she loved being seen. I nearly threw my laptop across the room, but she wasn't entirely wrong. There was a part of me, the smallest sliver, that missed it. Not the surveillance, not the invasion, but the clarity, the structure. Life before the reveal had rules, scripts. Now in this endless freedom, everything felt shapeless. No one was watching. No one was expecting. No one cared. And that somehow was harder than being consumed. So I wrote a letter, not to my dad, not to the fans, not to the internet, to myself. And I wrote, "You are not content. You are not a character. You are not made to be consumed. You're real, even when no one sees you." I folded it, tucked it in a book, and hid it on a random library shelf in a city where no one knew my name, just in case someone else needed it too.